That's it.
That is it. Tottenham Hotspur have ended a 17-year wait for a major trophy, a 41-year wait for a European trophy. These are the scenes at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in North London. A Luke Shaw own goal has decided this Europa League final between the two teams, 16th and 17th in the Premier League. Ange Postecoglou says, I always win a trophy in my second season. The Australian has delivered a trophy in his second season. They've beaten Manchester United by 1-0 in Bilbao. And there is a huge smile on Ange Postecoglou's face under pressure for so much of this season. But Brennan Johnson, via Luke Shaw, has delivered the decisive moment. Put it into words, Stephen Kelly.
In Ange we trust. That's it now, isn't it? Honestly, listen, it was a scrappy, horrible game. You know, Tottenham's doing stuff that you just don't expect them to be able to do. Like literally 7-8 men behind the ball, defending corners, defending. Van de Ven's clearance off the line is unbelievable. Vicario does well. A couple of great saves. The one for Garnacho. United pushed and pushed, but without creating any quality. But the crosses that Tottenham dealt with in the last few moments.
That was Ange with a lot of emotion there when he fist pumped and kissed, I assume, his family. His kids have been allowed to go off school and be over there. And we don't see that because he hides it very, very well, doesn't it? But what would that mean to him after everything he's gone through? It's
the biggest, I told you so in football. Is that, seriously, for a man that's been under so much pressure, and he warranted the pressure with their league performance, 17th. If they weren't in the Europa League final, he probably wouldn't be the manager of Tottenham right now. But he's done something that other managers have not been able to produce, like the Contes and Mourinho's. The scenes are unreal.
I mean, Richarlison deserves that piggyback, doesn't he? He's worked so hard today.
Unbelievable.
But, Stephen, a lot of times over the course of the season, and sometimes rightly so, there have been the cliched questions about Tottenham and their desire and their mentality, particularly in big
Go on,
games.
say it, Spursy.
Well, I didn't want to use that word, but they have been so brave. They have fought like lions tonight to get themselves over the line there.
The resilience, the determination, the bravery, defensively, Tottenham are not being the team that you scream out. When they have Van de Ven, when they have Romero, Udogie and Porro intact, they're a much better side, and that showed the organisation, the determination. Danzo comes in with an unbelievable header in the middle of the park as well, and then you throw into the players like Richarlison's work rate on the right side, Brendan Johnson's getting back on. A midfield tree that picks itself because of unavailability, and you go, some of those don't even play, but the shift that Basuma and Sarr put in has been amazing, and for that man Ange, honestly, I'm delighted for him, absolutely delighted for him, because you're one of these people that have to criticise. You're here, you can't be always Spurs hat on, saying they're the best, saying the manager deserves a chance, because at times they've been so poor, but they've gone and won a major European trophy, and this is the first time I've been able to see Spurs win a trophy, really, that I've not, as a proper fan, and it's ecstatic.
Leanne, for every winner there is, unfortunately, a loser, and we can see the Manchester United captain, Bruno Fernandes, looks absolutely crestfallen. How would you assess and sum up Manchester United's performance, firstly, tonight?
Well, I think overall, we had 73% possession. Congratulations to Tottenham, has to be said, Well done, Stephen. I'm happy for you, sort of. But I'm gutted. I'm gutted. I am. I'm absolutely gutted. I am. I'm not going to lie. I'm sitting here and I'm devastated because, we played well. Tottenham, to be fair to them, parked the bus, but you've got to do what you've got to do to win. And that's all that matters. Trophy, like Lewis Nani said it before the game, all that matters is winning this game. It's a final. Anything can happen. Solanke, Richarlison worked their socks off. Van de Ven's clearance, unbelievable. Danso, unbelievable. And, my partner and her family are all Spurs fans, so I think I'll be staying somewhere else tonight.
Stephen, these scenes, you can go through your whole career and never get to experience these moments. And those players are doing it right now, 17 years of no trophy, but the whole kind of narrative around this club has just been changed.
Well, I'll tell you now, go to the 60,000 people in Tottenham Stadium and go to the fans out there now and ask them, does finishing 17th matter? And I'll tell you what they'll say. They'll say, absolutely not. They said they will. I get it, I understand it, but they won't care, because this is stuff that some of these fans have never seen this in their lifetime. Some of the fans may never see it again. It's an unbelievable achievement to win a European trophy.
Look at those scenes then for the Tottenham Hotspur supporters. Leanne, just put into words, I guess, the emotions after winning a major trophy, how those moments feel. What is in your head at that exact time?
Yeah, I mean, best days of my life winning the Champions League. Best day. I remember like it was 17 years ago. I remember it like it was yesterday, you know, and it was the best moment in my career. And you give up a lot when you play football, you know, with family, you miss everything. And these are the moments you played for. The fans deserve this. You know, these fans, to be fair today, the fans were mixing, which I was quite surprised at. You know, a lot of Man United fans were sitting with Spurs fans, and
little ones there.
You know, and this is what it means. Like, this is what football does to you. I'm not going to lie.
The Spurs do this all the time. They don't know how long they've had to wait. But Stephen, Spurs are now in the Champions League, and the whole complexity of what they do this summer, where they start next season, changes, doesn't it? And who's going to manage them?
Yeah, honestly, it's such a conundrum because look at the joy, look at the expression, look how much. Right, if you question whether the players want enough, and listen, obviously the big occasion, they might be able to turn up because they're going to win a medal at the end of it, but were they fighting for the manager? Were they still trying for the manager? And that's evident. None of them look like they were not putting a shift in for him, or they don't want him to be there. So it's such a hard decision to make, but how do you get rid of, and listen, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, it's just how do you get rid of a man that's brought you your first silverware in so long?
Ask Claudio Ranieri at Leicester.
You have to hope, though, in a way, Stephen, that actually the decision was made before tonight.
Yeah.
That actually it doesn't really matter. And that article, which Ange Postecoglou took umbrage to about being called a hero or a clown, isn't how football works. That Daniel Levy will have made an assessment over 2 seasons, not just one night in Bilbao.
Yeah, that absolutely. And it's whether or not Daniel Levy goes with our full, and it's an excuse, it is an excuse, but with our full strength team, was Ange able to get them to the best and produce top football from them? And you'd say, when he had everybody fit, that at times Tottenham were turning heads all over the world in some of the football. They were beating teams, they looked like they could beat anybody. Then they dropped off, and it was a capitulation like you've not seen. They were so poor, and the unwillingness to change styles, which was evident. But it looks like that's slightly changed a little bit now.
But that style, though, guys, I'm not like. Let's not be honest. They're sitting everyone behind the ball.
No.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like, it weren't the most. If you do that in the Premier League, you have to have a little bit of luck, taking nothing away from them. But
and coming back to Ange, what I would say is he was asked about his future yesterday, and he said, "People leave when they win trophies."
Yeah.
You got the sense yesterday a little bit, didn't you, that he said, "I'll work again." He was exactly. He said, "You know, I'm not worrying about that today. The chances are I will at some stage perhaps have another job," and that kind of decision.
Yeah, listen, if he does go after this, he walks away with doing something no other Tottenham has been able to do really in the Premier League. He's won a major European trophy for the club, so he will walk away going, the project I was given with the players I've had, and I was able to deliver something no one else could, so it puts him in good stead in his own mind. It's whether or not the club, and like I said, Daniel Levy would have been going through it to see, does he believe he can take them forward in the Premier League, which is, it's their bread and butter. That's where they have to perform, and they haven't. But let them enjoy this. That's what I say.
And I take your point, Leanne, about you won't play like this every week in the Premier League, that you'll be like that. But I guess what Spurs fans will say is, in some games, there's a nice middle ground between that and being down to 9 men against Chelsea and still having everyone stood on the halfway line.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it comes down to like what Stephen said about when everyone's available, did he get the best out of the team? I personally don't think so. But I don't want to rain on their parade. They've just won a major trophy. You know, that's the reality. But fair play to Ange Postecoglou. I'm not his biggest fan, I'm not going to lie. But at the same time, he's won a trophy. He said he always wins trophies in his second season. And he's done that. And fair play to him. You know, and I hope in the post-game presser he actually enjoys the moment.
Well,
you know, he just always seems very like angry and like, you know, everything's against. But you're managing in the Premier League, like that is what it's like. Managers find out on the bus on the way home they've been sacked. I'm not saying it's right, but that is modern day football.
Manchester United was an example after winning the FA Cup, wasn't he?
Yeah, but credit where it's due. You know, they've won. Like,
what of Amorim, because his tough summer just got a little bit tougher. Was it 9 points since Christmas? Where does he begin this rebuild? And it becomes much more difficult because there isn't the funding, the PSL regulations, because of not getting into the Champions League. It's going to be a hard few months for him.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Ruben Amorim's the type of guy that I feel like would walk away. You know, he's that type of guy that I think he's very honest, he's very open. I don't want him to. But at the same time, for me, like that's why I felt so nervous and that's why I feel so gutted, because in my mind, Ruben comes in, we win a trophy, which will be the Europa League. We get into the Champions League, but let's be honest, we can't do it with these players. There's no point in going into the Champions League with this squad. And then I had this idea in my head that Ruben would be the person that would deliver this trophy for Man United. We're in the Champions League, like you say, PSR and all that kind of goes to the side because then we can bring in players because we've got the money from this competition. And now that's gone out the window. I think we're so far off of anywhere near the top 4. Do you know what I mean? We are so far off of it.
And what market can he shop in summer now?
Yeah, and who wants to come?
Yeah.
Like, I'd love, like, Liam Delap to come to Man United. I think, like, he's been linked and I like him a lot. But, like, right now, like, this is really bad for Man United. Like, it is really bad because, like I said, I had this idea in my head of what was going to happen because everything's been... we said about before the game, like, they have to win this game. Man United have banked everything on this game. So did Tottenham. And whoever comes out on top, like, the questions will be asked. I can't wait to see what Ruben's got to say.
Just on what Leanne was saying there, Stephen, about recruitment and the types of players, is there not still the feeling that maybe not elite players, but 95% of players would still say it's Man United? And actually, if you're a real big player, take someone like Cunha, actually, and his attitude is, I'm going to puff my chest out, I'll be the guy to turn this around.
Yeah, I think for Cunha, it's... OK, if you're Cunha and you have Arsenal, City or Liverpool interested in Manchester United, you're picking those 3 over United. You are, at this stage in your career, you are, because you want to play for a team that can deliver trophies.
I think you even play for a Newcastle or a Villa over United.
Yeah, you want... It's because, I said before we started, there are only moments in your career where you're lucky enough to get to win trophies. And if you can go to a team that can not guarantee it, but give you the best chance of achieving that, that's where you go. Are Manchester United that team anymore? They're not. Will they get back to there on Amorim? Potentially, but it's not going to be next season, so I don't think.
Do you think by not having European football, he's got a better chance, though, next season? We've seen it with some of the clubs that have rebuilt, haven't we?
Have we got a better chance of Amorim?
If there's no Thursday night, Sunday,
yeah,
so he's got a little bit more time. He talks so much about not having much time on the training pitch with these guys.
No, that's not. Sorry, though, but that's not the reason. Like, they're just not good enough. The individuals we have.
I think for a manager like that, they want to coach them. They want to be on the pitch. They want to get in their style system. In fact, he's changed the way they play, and he has to bed that in. But it's going to be horses for courses. They need those players to suit the way he plays, and at the moment, they don't really have that. But I think. I kind of feel now that I know there's a huge number of games, but I think because you spoke about the subs, the 5 subs, I think European football is much more manageable now for teams. Like I think about when I was at Fulham and we went from the start of the summer all the way through to Europa League Final in a tiny squad and you can make 3 substitutes in a game. You know, our squad was so small and you're trying to compete on every front. That's changed. The squads are huge. The players that they have at disposal is massive. They're all internationals. You know, it's a very different football now, and I know they play a lot more football, but the players are there to be able to handle that weight, I think. So I don't think it's an excuse for a club like Manchester United dropping if they're in a European competition.
Final one to each of you then. We'll come to you, Leanne, first. We talked about recruitment and maybe money. I guess part of the importance this summer is getting rid of what they don't want. Now, that might be some players in his squad at the moment, but that also might be the likes of Anthony and Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, that if you really want to regenerate things, people above Ruben Amorim are going to have to be smart as well to get as much back as they can to try and change things.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take a while, and I think this just made us go about 4 or 5 steps back further than I expected us to be. And I think you look at those players like Anthony's gone to Real Betis and he's been amazing, but good luck to him. Some things just don't work out at certain teams because everyone's saying, oh, you know, people leave Man United and they all of a sudden push on. But yeah, I think this is going to take a while. It's going to hurt for a while, Rob. I'm not going to lie. I'm sitting here absolutely gutted that we lost this game, genuinely, because I just had this feeling that we would win this game, and not that you can predict football, but like I said, fair play to Tottenham. They did what they needed to do. The fans have gone out there. A lot of people spent a lot of money going to this game as well, like a lot of money. The fans,
and fair play. It's taken some people 4 days to get over there.
I saw some people going via Marrakesh, like they're trying to. And fair play to the fans, because those fans turn up every single week, every single game, even when it looks like the players are not turning up, because they were all focused on these games. Let's be honest, that Man United-Chelsea game last Friday, this first 15 minutes was better than that entire game.
This stage of the season is the reason we love it, isn't it? Because it is agony and ecstasy in equal measures in finals. But finally then, Stephen, just as those Tottenham players prepare to go and get their medal, this must be the moment where you think of all the parties you missed, you think of all the times you went to training.
I love that you put parties first above everything.
Speaking from experience of all the parties that I attended, and that's why I'm not in Bilbao tonight. But all those...
There were other sacrifices.
All those sacrifices, all the things that probably your parents sacrificed to get to this moment.
Yeah, honestly, even if you don't get to this moment, playing football at a professional level is worth all those sacrifices. But these are the cherry on top. These are the ones that make it really special. These are the moments that you look back in your career and you go, wow. Like I said, I've got a silver medal from one of these finals. Never got over the line to get a major one. I'm looking that goes down. There's envy, but there's so much joy in the fact that the team I support has gone on to win the European Championship after all the back of the season, after, you know, talking so negatively so often. You have to, even though you want to be positive, you have to just say how it is. But, you know, they haven't played great tonight, but defended it so well. And I'm just so happy. I'm so happy.